And we're going to assume that you're going to pass in the whole list node just to make our coding simpler here, right? Call it ln, that's the list node, and there's my append code, whatever I'm going to do. So the brightness, I think, may just be a bit strong. Let's see if I can just change that a bit. Bear with me a second so it doesn't overdo it. Okay, so the question is, there are two important scenarios that I want to consider. The scenario I'm interested in here is that the list is empty. So let's have a look at what that might mean. So here's my list. I've created a list object, but the head node, which I called, is currently null. And if you've kept a tail, then the tail would be null. Okay, so that's our starting place. Now, if you're running an append and you pass in ln, which is our list object, what should it do with these two values? Clearly, you want it to do something like this. There's your ln. You want the head to point to it, and the tail, if you have one, to point to it. Seems straightforward enough. So you would have code which simply assigned to the head, ln, and assigned to the tail, ln. Is that all there is to it? There's actually a really secret problem hidden inside here. You think you're only passing in a node, but because the list node has a next member variable, imagine this is ln. What happens if you didn't even realize, but there was a whole chain attached? Because the next value of the list node you're adding linked to another one, and another one linked to another, and it's a huge chain of them, say about 50 items. So when you thought you were just appending a solitary one on its own, you actually ended up passing a whole list. So that actually adds a very interesting question because of the way that the mechanism. So you would actually have to guarantee that the next item of the node you're adding is empty, or you'd have to guarantee it, right? So you might need to set its next to null. And in that way, you prevent the risk that you could be adding a whole list. So when we're looking at an empty list, that's reasonably straightforward. I would ask you and recommend that you go ahead and code it.